Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. This is an introduction to Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect. My name is Natalie Anderson, and I am going to be your host today. We have a really busy agenda, so let's go ahead and get started. First, I just want to take a minute to cover a few housekeeping items. We want to make this session useful and helpful to you. So if you have any questions at all during the webinar, please feel free to submit them to the Q&A panel. And then that way we can answer your questions throughout the course of the webinar. If we end up running out of time before we get to your questions, we will follow up with you afterward to make sure that they get answered. And just for your reference, we will be sending a copy of this presentation and a recording of the webinar in a follow-up email after today. Okay, I'd just like to introduce our speakers today. As I said, my name is Natalie Anderson, and I'm a Senior Nonprofit Industry Manager here at Sage, and I'll be the host today. Just a little bit about me. I've been working in the nonprofit software space for over 10 years, and I live in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area. With me today is Russ Scupari, Regional Manager for DonorPerfect. Russ will be showing you a demo of Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect a little bit later on. And for over 24 years, Russ has helped thousands of U.S. and international nonprofits reach their fundraising goals. And Russ lives in Pennsylvania. And then finally, we have with us today Bob Blake, Principal Product Manager at Sage. Bob will be walking us through how the data flows from Sage Intacct Fundraising to Sage Intacct Financials. And Bob has decades of experience working in the nonprofit software space, and he hails from the Austin, Texas area. Here's our agenda for today. First, we'll do an overview of Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect. We will talk about the problems it solves and the benefits it offers. Then I'll turn it over to Russ, who will do a demonstration of the product, including taking a look at the reporting. Bob will then walk us through how the data synchronization works between Sage Intacct Fundraising and Sage Intacct Financials. And then we'll wrap it up with a summary and next steps. Let's start off with an overview of Sage Intacct Fundraising. One of the top challenges that I hear when speaking to nonprofits is the difficulty that comes trying to achieve their mission with disparate systems. Operating with siloed systems can lead to some pretty significant challenges, like restricted visibility into organizational performance. Without a unified view of your organizational-wide fundraising efforts and financial outcomes, it can be difficult for leaders to assess their overall effectiveness of the efforts and difficult to make informed decisions to optimize resource allocation. It can also cause hindered team collaboration, decision-making, and strategic planning. If your systems don't communicate effectively with each other, this can really hurt your ability to make decisions and to plan for the future because stakeholders at your organization might not have access to comprehensive and accurate, up-to-date information across all of your departments. Duplication of effort and potential for mistakes. Siloed systems often leads to data duplication and inconsistency of data. So for example, if your fundraising data is stored separately from your financial data, reconciling donor contributions with your financial records can become challenging. Staff often then needs to manually transfer data between systems, which of course increases the likelihood of human error and consumes valuable time and resources. It can also cause missed opportunities to optimize resources. So often we see disjointed systems means a lack of efficient workflows and a lack of automated processes. So that means too much time is spent on manual tasks and that could otherwise be freed up and spent furthering your mission. Disjointed communication with donors. This is a big one. So if your fundraising and financial data are not aligned, donors may receive conflicting or outdated information about their contributions, which can lead to confusion and maybe even frustration. And this disconnect could often put that funding at risk. And lastly, growth and scalability changes. So, as your organization grows, siloed systems often struggle to scale efficiently. So, whether you're adding new fundraising channels or expanding financial operations, it can create a cumbersome and costly situation if your systems aren't designed to accommodate growth and change. However, connecting your financial and fundraising systems offers many benefits. First, it streamlines communication and ensures consistency across your teams. So, your development team can provide insight into their upcoming fundraising campaigns, which your finance team can then incorporate into budget planning. Similarly, finance can provide feedback on the financial feasibility of any proposed development initiatives. By aligning your development goals with your financial resources, you can be sure to allocate funds more efficiently, and it allows for a more holistic approach to your fundraising efforts. Next, it reduces time spent on reconciliation and improves reporting. Connected systems enable better tracking and reporting of financial data related to your fundraising activities. So, this improves transparency and accountability, both internally at your organization and to your donors and external stakeholders. This also means no more reconciliation between the two systems. It automates data flow to eliminate manual entry and errors. So it takes that risk of human error out of data entry and ensures everyone is on the same page with the same accurate, up to date information. It allows staff to focus on high impact activities. This is a big one. I talk with nonprofit execs all the time who say they need more time to spend on strategy, but they just simply don't have it. When your systems are connected, you can automate processes like donation tracking, financial reporting, and budget management, which makes your organization more efficient and frees up that time for more strategic activities. And then lastly, it provides increased donor stewardship. Seamless data flow enables you to provide your donors with more accurate and timely financial information about how their contributions are being utilized. This helps foster trust and strengthens your donor relationships, hopefully leading to long term support. At Sage, our goal is to remove barriers so your organization can thrive. So, we've teamed up with DonorPerfect to bring fund accounting and fundraising together with two products known for their deep functionality and reputation for helping nonprofits advance their mission. This partnership with DonorPerfect has resulted in the development of Sage Intacct Fundraising, powered by DonorPerfect. This is a purpose-built solution made especially for Sage Intacct customers with fundraising needs. It has the look and feel of DonorPerfect with additional reporting capabilities with data that seamlessly flows from DonorPerfect into your accounting data in Sage Intacct, which will allow you to spend more time on your donors and less on data. It'll allow you to trust the accuracy and completeness of your financial insight, break down those silos that we were just talking about, and align your team around common goals, quickly measure, report on, and optimize your performance, and perhaps most importantly, raise more money and use it to maximize your mission. We are really proud to have DonorPerfect as our partner. DonorPerfect is well established in the nonprofit sector with a reputation for helping thousands of nonprofits. If you're not as familiar with DonorPerfect, you should know they're rated #1 for overall value. They are the most awarded nonprofit CRM since 2009. They've raised over $300 billion since launch. They have over 10,000 nonprofit customers representing all sizes and sectors. And they have a 93% customer retention rate and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So together, we are bringing the best of fundraising and the best of finance together. There are some features listed here on the screen, but just some highlights I want to share of Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect. You'll have donor management with centralized donor information, making it easier to track interactions, donations, and communication history. Fundraising tools for online fundraising, event management, and peer-to-peer fundraising. Reporting and analytics to track fundraising progress, measure campaign effectiveness, and make data-driven decisions, and automation of many tasks like sending thank you emails, generating reports, and scheduling reminders, which saves you time and improves overall efficiency at your organization. And some highlights of Sage Intacct accounting and financial management on the other side are robust financial management capabilities tailored to the unique needs of nonprofits. So you can manage budgets, track expenses, and monitor financial performance in real time. True fund accounting functionality, which enables you to accurately track and report on funds designated for specific purposes or programs. Sage Intacct also offers robust reporting and analytics features, allowing you to generate custom financial reports, track key performance indicators, and gain insights into your financial health. It also facilitates compliance with specific nonprofit regulations, like tracking restricted funds and reporting on grant expenditures. The benefits of one combined solution to you include seamless real-time data flow between the systems, which is configurable to your needs, a true 360-degree view into revenue, cash, and expenses, the ability to make more data-driven decisions to maximize your impact, and improve the collaboration between your finance and development teams. With Sage Intacct Fundraising, what you're getting is a centralized system that is integrated, automated, and ultimately allows you to streamline your workflows. Some of the key features include online forms that can be embedded directly into your website, gift and pledge tracking with the ability to enter cash and check donations in batch, task and event management, grant tracking, volunteer tracking, some robust and intuitive reporting, bulk mailings and emails. And speaking of emails, with Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect, you're not just getting any proprietary mass email marketing tool. You get best-in-class mass email marketing. So you're getting a free, fully integrated constant contact account, which is equipped with hundreds of templates, including over 30 templates made just for Sage Intacct customers. As it relates to industry standards, those fundraising templates included have a 12% higher open rate and a 5 times average click rate. And because of the integration between Constant Contact and Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect, you can use the data in Sage Intacct Fundraising to build out your dynamic email groups for Constant Contact. So you can easily launch Constant Contact right through Sage Intacct Fundraising, and it will automatically update your fundraising records. There are also some great options for time-saving features like an AI content generator for those of you who get writer's block like me, and tools made to automate otherwise manual tasks like the ability to build custom drip campaigns and set up automatic resend to non-openers. The whole idea is that Sage Intacct Fundraising is one center hub for everything you're doing at your nonprofit. It has its own payment processor, which means you don't have to worry about signing up with Sage Intacct Fundraising and then signing up with a third-party payment processor. This feature is baked into the system and will give you access to additional functionality in your fundraising database like InstaCharge and automatic credit card updater. The payment processor also integrates seamlessly with online forms. And with the use of GiveCloud Express forms, donors will have access to a modern giving experience, making it easier for them to give and also increasing conversion rates for our nonprofits. On average, our customers see an increase in online giving of 72%. Just like Sage Intacct, Sage Intacct Fundraising is 100% cloud-based, so you'll be able to access your data from anywhere. The mobile app will allow you to process gifts on the go, take notes via talk to text, and view upcoming appointments. Lastly, Sage Intacct Fundraising has an open API and is currently integrated with over 30 different applications, so you can easily modify your fundraising system to meet your organization's specific needs. And Sage Intacct Fundraising users see an average increase in revenue of 25% in their very first year. That's twice the national average. Plus, they experience double-digit growth for years thereafter. And because of the easy-to-use tools and various automated processes, Sage Intacct Fundraising saves customers on average 15 hours a week. That's basically 2 full workdays. Imagine what you could do with 2 more days back in your schedule. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Russ so you can see Sage Intacct Fundraising powered by DonorPerfect in action. Take it away, Russ.
Great. Thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yep, there it is.
All right, wonderful. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Russ Kupari from DonorPerfect. We're very excited about this partnership because we feel like it really is creating a full end-to-end solution for our clients so that they have a true fundraising CRM that handles all facets of the nonprofit. We have worked over the 45 years we've been doing this with organizations that range from tiny one-person shops all the way through hundreds of thousands of donors within their constituent database. So our goal is to provide you with something that's both easy to use, but really allows you to kind of grow and scale into it. Our average client is with us over 15 years. So what our goal is to try to make the engagement of the data and the interface as easy as possible. So when you first log into DonorPerfect, you're going to have unlimited users, so you can roll it out the way you need to at whatever security level you need. And the ability to go in and right away see where you are as an organization, to have a really easy to use donor engagement element. So right away, your to-dos, your tasks, your follow-ups are being handled, and you know that nothing is slipping through the cracks. The ability to see in real time the effectiveness of your different strategies. So customizable dashboard that allows you to pull from over 60 custom widgets, even create your own so that you can have very specific tailored views of your data. And again, this is unique per person, ranging from very basic data like recent giving and top donors, all the way through your trends, right? I need to know right away where we are with the effectiveness of our different appeals. Where are we with our retention over time and our growth in giving? And the ability to interact with our data dynamically wherever we are, right? We're trying to keep it easy, but we're also not trying to dumb this down either. Access to the data is paramount. Look and feel, again, we're trying to simplify. So at the top of the screen, almost anybody can kind of figure out where to go as they navigate around the system. And as you search through and pull up your constituents, again, this is a 360 relationship management system to manage every relationship that's going on, right? Whether it's individual donors, corporate partners, foundations, and grant making. So when you log into a constituent record, one of the very first things you're going to see is a top-down view of essentially what that relationship is, what that commitment is over time. Are they a major donor? Are they a monthly donor? How are they connected relationship-wise in key elements that I need to know right away so that everybody is on the same page? And dynamic information tracking. So part of the goal here is, as Natalie said, to really create something that creates a end-to-end audit set of automations as well. So if it's been a year and a day since Roger gave his last gift, the system is dynamically tracking that and can, in that next day, seeing that they're now a lapsed donor, automatically move them into a targeted engagement platform as part of our relationship with Constant Contact. So right away, we're sending them multiple emails, potentially multiple texts to re-engage that relationship. So really one of the nice powers of this is not only giving you the ability to get more sophisticated with your approaches, but also to fill in the gaps where in a perfect world, we'd have all the staff in the world. But that doesn't happen in reality. So having the system kind of fall into the breach to help you kind of fill that gap is a part of the big key here. Below that main donor profile is a series of basically buckets of information so that you can see that 360 view of Roger and Mary Sandstone. The nice thing about this, though, is that everything down below is flexible, is customizable by you. It's why, when we look at our typical constituent, they've been with us over 15 years because the needs 5, 10, 15 years down the road are going to change pretty dramatically. And we want to empower the end user to be able to make those changes themselves. So when you go into Roger or Mary's record or a company record, you're seeing only what you want to see, the most relevant stuff. How are they connected in the many different ways they are? What are those key contact preferences that we need to be aware of that automatically filter in terms of the different marketing pieces that we're doing? Having robust analytics within the system, where not only are we going to rely on our reporting, but also rely on the system to pull out key data points and calculate those for you so you understand what you need to know. How much does Roger and Mary give at events versus direct mail, right? What are those key channel marketing choices that we need to make for maximum kind of effectiveness? Having automated tools that look at, for example, on a nightly basis, are there duplicates within the system? Is there anybody that has given a gift that hasn't received a thank you letter, right? There's lots of safety nets built within that are running behind the scenes, as well as data enhancements that are coming into your system from outside. So, for example, on a nightly basis, it's screening national change of address update and deceased record updating. So your mailings are always going out correctly. It's doing deceased record updating so you can manage the relationship in an appropriate way. It's bringing in outside data to help you understand people's overall wealth indicators, right? Is this person going to automatically fall into a mailing list or potentially a potential call list so that we can start cultivating these relationships in the right way? There's also a lot more here, right? Whether it's major donor planning, where we can track relationship cultivation over time, really understanding where we are building towards a major ask, because that doesn't happen overnight. Bringing in major donor research tools into the picture. So not only do you have a sense of their wealth, but even more importantly, do they have proven philanthropy? Did they give major gifts? And do they give those gifts to organizations that are similar to you, right? Or do we have donors that are giving us $1,000 a year, which we're thankful for, but after we do a little bit of research, we can see that they can give 10 times that much, right? So there's a lot more here that we can talk about, but it's really meant to give you that 360-degree view of every aspect of how they're connected and how we're cultivating. At the heart of that is gift management. So we have been managing gifts and pledges for 40 plus years. All the nuances of fundraising, gift and pledge tracking is in here. Transactionally, this is going to manage all of your receivables, in terms of gift and pledges, online donations, checks, in-kind donations, soft credits, matching gifts. They're all here. And it all flows through a very robust batch entry tool that's included in the system. So I'm able to manage every step along the way. I'm able to control my templates so I can manage the fields and data that's going to flow through the batch. I have the ability of controlling it on a field by field basis. So it's very granular, but very robust. So I can see not only the gifts that we're, or the individual fields that we're going to be including, but what the standard defaults for those fields are going to be for this batch, whether some items are hidden or populating automatically behind the scenes. A lot of that granular control. And once I've set it up and I'm happy with it, the process of data entry is really quick and rapid. There's a self-reconciliation process so I can identify the total batch and the amounts that are coming in. I can manage those individual gifts on a field by field and screen by screen level. So I can say, well, yes, we have a check in hand. We've received the return slip. I start typing in their ID, and it'll immediately pull up the foundation record, enter the amount of the gift, maybe the check number. Maybe I need to make adjustments on the fly, and maybe this a particular general ledger fund is going to be adjusted. In this case, the monies are going to the building fund. All of those full controls are managed here, and even the ability to do very granular controls on those gift entries. Elements like tributes, where an automatic notification is going out to a family member. Soft credits and pledges. If an existing pledge exists, it's automatically going to update it. And if I don't know the donor record, it's very easy to find that constituent in the system. Once everything is reconciled, and looks good, we're able to go into the receipting, close out the batch and go into the receipting tab and review my batch, keeping in mind there's lots of other activities that are going on, right? We have checks that are coming in, but we also have gifts that are coming in online. We also have monthly gifts. And so there's lots of different tools in the system to manage and automate this for you. So we're really trying to promote monthly giving. It improves donor retention rates. People who give monthly gifts tend to give major gifts. So all of those are built into the best practices. And not only is the system going to process those gifts and send out thank you letters automatically, but it's even going to monitor elements like credit card expiration dates. And when those credit cards expire, it's going to automatically update the cards behind the scenes and keep processing. So you don't have to get into a game of phone tag just trying to get somebody back on the line to update a credit card. Um, when you are satisfied and you're ready to send out those acknowledgments, you're able to review them in any way you want. You can review them in a general ledger format where you're seeing them in detail. You can review them as part of a spreadsheet, but it gives you control to view those details to make sure everything is 100% correct because it's tied to the merchant account. The really nice thing here is if I see an error, not only can I make those adjustments right in DonorPerfect, but it'll even tie back to the gateway and reprocess those credit cards for me. So we're trying to simplify it at every level. And once everything is 100% correct, we click on our Generate Receipts button. And again, generate receipts, acknowledgments, thank you letters. It's all doing the same thing. It's giving your donor the acknowledgement that they deserve. And so you're able to really control that communication the right way, have the messaging and imaging be your branding, your look and feel, your verbiage and signatures, subtle elements like lifetime giving automatically populating in your marketing as well as in your acknowledgments. These subtle elements have shown to improve donor retention rates in a real way. Because again, it comes back to the fact that every donor just wants to know that you appreciate them, right? And we've also built really simplified tools for any kind of mail merge. So the next step is to do a physical letter. And what's nice is that you don't have to use a stripped down word processor. You don't have to go through those constant processes of dumping CSV files onto your desktop and the whole Microsoft Mail Merge wizard. You're able to just have all of your templates from Microsoft Word right in DonorPerfect, whether it's Avery labels or letters, and the whole process to do a mail merge is just select your letter and say merge. We have also built in, again, just as important is a whole range of automations for marketing. When you look at the contact management, it's just as important to understand how this relationship is getting cultivated over time, right? What are the different email blasts that are going out? What are they getting and when? Are they actually opening and reading those emails? Did we have meetings and what were the results of those? Did I run into Roger at a supermarket and have a really important piece of information that I want to share and I can just dictate those notes into the record? Or maybe I responded to Roger in an email. We're capturing these relationships, these details, so that as individuals leave an organization, that history doesn't leave with them, right? There's an institutional history that is preserved from generation to generation within an organization. Just as importantly is the reporting and the analytics. So we want to make sure that one of the things we found over the years is that the reporting and the data is accessible for the average user, right? If you're spending days creating reports, it really limits your ability to act on the results of those reports. So we've created reporting that's built on a very easy to use process. Most reports that people run are what we call listing reports, right? Give me a list of this particular group of people, maybe people who have attended these 5 events, people who have given this much money. But the nice thing is that I can create lots of different complex compound queries and I can get very robust with this. But what we found on a day-to-day basis is that usually it's about ease of use, right? I want to be able to go in here and say, find me everybody who lives in Pennsylvania, who maybe has given us $2,000 or more with one click. I'm seeing exactly what I need to see. And I didn't have to jump through 1,000 hoops to get there. Not only can I take this and print it, I can also dump it into Excel. I can create custom export templates. So maybe I don't want 100 columns in a spreadsheet and spend an hour cleaning it up. Maybe I just want the specific 17 fields that our mailhouse wants to do that mailing, and I can get that out the door in seconds. Maybe I can then email this to an individual internally so I can get the communication and have the collaboration work well. Or maybe I want to have this even scheduled. So I want a certain report going to the board the first Monday of every month. Set it, forget it, never think about it again. There are layers to the reporting tool. So we want to make sure that it's customizable, but without too much complexity. We built this without having to, reinvent the wheel. The nice thing is it's all visual. So on the left are your fields, on the right is your report. I can even go in and set up my own favorites. So these are the fields that I use all the time, so I don't have to search through a whole list. And the whole process to build out the report is just to drag and drop it on the screen. So a lot of granular control. And every field is as if it has always been there. So if you added a field in 5 minutes ago, it can be included in reports and imports and exports and online forms to capture that information. Yeah, like I said, it's as if it has been hard coded in the system. Um, Above and beyond that, we have what we call our financial analytic reports. And these are the reports that are meant, there's over 60 of them. They are meant to be used by the average person um, to really gauge the effectiveness of the strategies, big picture, right? And over 40 years of doing this, working with AFP, with the Giving Institute, have been part of the core discussion on what are those key analytics and data points that every nonprofit organization needs to be paying attention to, and have access to that effectiveness dynamically. So again, the average person just has to be able to go in there, put a date in, and what they're going to get is a really thoughtful and in-depth look at what the trends are over any given period of time, and not just look at key indicators like number of active donors and number of gifts and revenue per donor, but really dig into the key effectiveness measurements, right? What is our retention rate? How is it changing over time? How is it directly correlating with the lifetime donor value of any individual you're working with? Well, that's great, but we're struggling with donor retention. Well, what do we do about it? Well, we want to make sure that we get new donors in the flow. And yeah, we're seeing those new donors coming in. We're seeing a lot of good revenue there, and that bodes well for the future. But we still have to deal with the donor retention rate. Well, we had a great strategy for that. We were going to call everybody once, email them at least 3 or 4 times. Fantastic. What was the outcome of that strategy? Is it worth doing again? Was it effective? Right. And in the same report, I'm able to measure that and see what our reactivated donor rates are looking like, how much revenue that's generating, and understand what those attrition trends look like over time. And if I want to see who those reactivated donors are, with one click, I'm dynamically seeing a contextually relevant report for what I need to see right now. So we're really trying to get you the analysis that you need and get you further downfield so you can do the important stuff, which is figuring out what comes next. And we have a ton of great best business practice resources as part of this partnership that we roll out to our clients to give you a full understanding of what's working in the field. All right. So that's it for me. Thank you all for coming, and back to you now.
Thank you so much, Russ. That was wonderful. It was great to see it in action. Really appreciate that overview. Now I'm going to turn it over to Bob, and he's going to walk us through how the data synchronization between Sage Intacct Fundraising and Sage Intacct Financials works. Bob, it's all yours.
You're muted.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Russ. Appreciate the demo there. It was great. I see new little nuggets there every time I watch a presentation. There's such great reporting there. And all the things that you tag on a gift record that you need to track for fundraising, they're not always exactly what we need for accounting, right? We might need that at a lower level or summarized. So what we're looking at here is a list of gift batches that were created in DonorPerfect. Those could have been from where we saw Russ go in to enter in gifts. Those could have been a batch that was created from monthly giving, or a batch that was pushed in overnight from web forms that folks donated on. So we keep track of those batches, and then those batches in DonorPerfect move over into Sage Intacct. So let's look at how that's done in a little bit more detail. This is a example of a batch that was entered in. It's 2024_10 is our batch number, and we're going to follow that one through the system. So we'll see that there were 4 gifts in this batch, and they totaled $10,000. There is a reconciliation capabilities that are there within DonorPerfect to make sure those batches are in sync. So that makes it easier to push the data over. So let's take a look at how that is done. As I had mentioned in DonorPerfect, there are a lot of fields that are used to track campaigns and solicitation codes, etc. And those fields we map into our dimensions in Sage Intacct. So in Intacct, we might be tracking a class that is maybe representative of whether your donation was a restricted donation or our favorite kind, unrestricted donation, and a department that we tag it to. So maybe we have a development department where we tag all of our transactions in accounting. We may have multiple entities that we're working with that we tag to, and we may tag them to a project. So we might have actually mapped the larger campaigns as a project in Intacct that we can track all of that campaign level detail. But we may not be interested so much in the solicitation and sub-solicitation codes because that's what's important for our fundraisers and not necessarily the accountants. So this mapping allows us to take that data from DonorPerfect, map it into Sage Intacct to get the dimensionality that we need. But we're missing two things, right? We need a debit and a credit. So we need to hit a revenue account and we need to hit a cash account. So let's take a look at how we do that. For revenue, some customers may just have one revenue account in their organization and the chart of accounts for contributions. Others may want to put those into separate accounts, right? You may have individual contributions, contributions from foundations, from companies, etc., or grants. So we can control those GL accounts by associating those with the donor type. So when we look at your gift record, we look at your donor as well, and then we plug in your GL account for your revenue side. Not everyone has one cash account that all of the monies go into. You may have multiple cash accounts in your organization, and maybe the checks and cash get deposited into one and credit cards get deposited into another. This gives us the flexibility to assign the cash account to our gift type so that it flows properly into the proper cash account. So if we look at our next screen, we'll see that we have the batches here that existed in DonorPerfect. We moved those over in your cadence, whether you want to do that daily, whether you want to do that weekly or monthly. We can grab those transactions, schedule it to run overnight, and in the morning you'll have the DonorPerfect batches sitting in a fundraising general ledger journal entry. So this is a list of those journal entries that were made for that day's transactions. And let's take a further look into the detail of that transaction. So again, we're looking at that batch 2024_10, which we keep track of that in our reference number to refer back to our batch in DonorPerfect. We're tracking at the bottom in our journal entry, we have, by providing the three pieces in the map, we get the journal entry filled out for us, and we're keeping that by document number so that you can trace that back to the individual checks or transactions that were created in DonorPerfect. I also have an example here of a pledge. So for organizations that like to move over pledge data, we can set up the interface to pull and flow over your pledges, whether you want those in your actual books, or we have some customers that prefer to have those in a user-defined book that they can layer on top of their financials and maybe make those audit adjustments at year end. So we've left some flexibility there. At the end of the day, by having the data from both systems in one place, we've got the gift data that gives us our the revenue side, if you will. And then in Sage Intacct, we have all the costs that were associated with the fundraising, whether those were events or different campaigns, salaries, everything that was going into that fundraising activity. And by using those two sets of data side by side, we're able to present you with a dashboard that shows you the full insight of the fundraising or development department, if you will. So we're able to pull in those expenses, get an ROI, and the cost per dollar raised, etc. Back to you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate that. Okay. So just to recap here, we talked about an overview. I shared with you an overview of Sage Intacct Fundraising and our partnership with DonorPerfect. We talked about some of the problems it solves and the benefits it offers. Russ walked us through a demonstration of the product, and then Bob explained how the data synchronization works between Sage Intacct Fundraising and Sage Intacct Financials. We are so excited about this opportunity. We are so excited to continue helping our nonprofit customers pursue their mission success on both the fundraising and financial side. And we hope you're excited about this as well. So throughout the webinar today, we've tried to keep up with your questions in chat and answer them along the way. But if we haven't answered your question or gotten to it yet, someone will get back to you with the answer. And as a reminder, a copy of this presentation and a link to the recording will be sent to you in an email. Feel free to share this information with your colleagues or anyone else who would like to learn more. If you do want to learn more beyond the webinar today and discuss your specific requirements, here's your next step. If you're already using Sage Intacct, please reach out to your customer account manager or complete the callback form on the webinar page once you receive these slides. If you're evaluating Sage Intacct for the first time, please contact your Sage Intacct sales consultant, or you can call the number on the screen. Thank you again. Thank you so much, Russ. Thank you, Bob. And thank you, everyone listening, for your time. I know how valuable it is. We really appreciate you being here today. Have a wonderful rest of the day.